How far can a city grow before it forgets the very people who built it? Bangkok, a city of dazzling lights and endless towers, where million-dollar billboards glow above corrugated roofs rusting under monsoon rain. Beneath its glass and steel, a quieter rhythm beats, one of struggle, survival, and silence. In the shadows of its skyscrapers lies Khlong Toei, Thailand's largest slum, home to more than 100,000 souls. Here, children play barefoot through puddles of rainwater mixed with oil and ash. Mothers wash vegetables in plastic tubs. Men push carts through alleys no wider than a doorframe. It's a city within a city, invisible yet indispensable. These are not criminals or beggars. They are the unseen foundation of Bangkok's glory, the hands that lifted the skyline but were never invited to live within it. Every raindrop, every flicker of fire, every heartbeat here tells a story of endurance. And in this paradox, Bangkok reveals its truest face, a mirror of modern civilization, where the brighter the lights, the deeper the shadows. Meanwhile, across the border, Cambodia, once seen as the weaker neighbor, is rising fast, driven by youth, ambition, and surprising stability. As Phnom Penh glows with new cranes and highways, Bangkok stands conflicted, caught between progress and the people it left behind. The question now isn't who's leading Southeast Asia, but what development really means. In this documentary, we journey beyond the tourist brochures and polished streets, deep into the forgotten veins of Bangkok, into homes built from wood scraps and faith, into lives that continue against all odds. This isn't a story of misery, it's a story of resilience, of people who have turned survival into a form of quiet art. As you watch, you may feel discomfort, awe, even guilt. But above all, you will witness the truth. Because sometimes, to understand a city's soul, you must first look into its lowest alleys. And there, in the flicker of dim streetlights, lies a truth Bangkok would rather keep hidden. Number 1. Khlong Toei, the forgotten heart of Bangkok. There's a place Bangkok would rather you didn't see. Hidden between the neon lights and glittering towers lies Khlong Toei, the city's largest and oldest slum, a living scar stretching across the heart of Thailand's capital. For over 70 years, it has stood quietly, breathing beneath the noise of a city obsessed with progress. While Bangkok is praised as the shopping paradise of Asia, just a few streets away, hundreds of thousands live in narrow alleys where sewage runs by their doorsteps and children play beside piles of waste. Khlong Toei was born in the 1950s when waves of rural migrants came seeking work at the port and factories of Bangkok. With no access to formal housing, they built makeshift homes from timber scraps, corrugated metal, and plastic sheets. Decades later, those shacks have become an entire community, a city within a city. Today, more than 100,000 residents call Khlong Toei home. Their average income, about 12,000 baht a month, or roughly $330 US, 35% below Bangkok's cost of living baseline. Yet, the strangest thing about Khlong Toei is its location. It isn't on the outskirts. It sits right in the middle of the capital, within walking distance of 5-star hotels, glittering malls, and sleek MRT stations. One step takes you from the bright lights of Terminal 21 to a dark alley where families sleep on bare concrete floors. Between these two worlds lies more than just a physical wall. It's an invisible divide built from decades of indifference. Inside modern Bangkok, there exists another city, one where time moves not by the ticking of clocks, but by the rhythm of vendors' voices, children's laughter, and the quiet resilience of those left out of the city's plans. And maybe that's why Khlong Toei endures. Because here, among the poverty and decay, lies memory, belonging, and humanity. The more Bangkok grows upward, the deeper this question echoes. Can a city truly rise if its heart remains forgotten? This is where our journey begins, right at the fragile border between glamour and truth, between a city's polished surface and its most human pulse, beating quietly in the shadows of progress. Number 2. Rhythm in the dark, the art of survival. In the narrow alleys, barely wide enough for 2 people to pass, Bangkok shows a side the world rarely sees, rough, crowded, and breathing with quiet endurance. The houses here are stitched together from tin, wood, and plastic sheets, leaning into each other like memories patched by trembling hands. When rain falls, it doesn't drain away. It rises, creeping into kitchens, beds, and into the unfinished dreams of children. In Khlong Toei, rain isn't weather. It's a test of endurance. People lift their furniture on bricks, hang their pots high, and wait for the storm to pass. And then, as if nothing happened, life continues. Trash floats by, smoke from cooking fires curls through the air, and low-hanging power lines buzz like restless nerves. It feels chaotic, yet it follows a silent law, the law of survival. No one here complains, they simply adapt. A man repairs his old motorbike, a woman pushes her cart to the market, a child helps her mother wash vegetables in a bucket of rainwater. Each act is small, but each is a declaration against being forgotten. And in the damp twilight, when golden light seeps through holes in the tin roofs, laughter still echoes. The laughter of children, clear and defiant, as if poverty has no power over their hearts. Here, people do not live by hope for the future. They live by the skill of surviving today. The future is a luxury they cannot afford to dream of. Every day without a fire, without a flood, without collapse, that's a good day. In this world stitched together by wire and willpower, poverty has been transformed into a strange art, the art of surviving the impossible. And if you look closer, you'll see that in their eyes lies something beyond fatigue, a quiet strength honed through generations. Here, amid the smoke, dripping water, and muddy footsteps, a simple truth emerges, one the richer city outside seems to have forgotten. A human being can live without comfort, but never without the will to endure. Number 3. Thailand versus Cambodia, the paradox of progress. There's a paradox unfolding in the heart of Southeast Asia. While Bangkok, once hailed as the face of modernity and prosperity, struggles with gridlock, political fatigue, and social stagnation, Cambodia, once considered one of the region's poorest nations, is quietly rising. Phnom Penh, once scarred by war, now gleams with new commercial towers, glass facades, and the restless hum of ambition. Meanwhile, in Bangkok, the alleys of Khlong Toei still wait for floodwater to drain, and its people still wait for the light of opportunity to reach them. Cambodia's economy has been growing at roughly 5.8% per year, drawing foreign investment into infrastructure, technology, and renewable energy. Thailand, in contrast, faces an aging population, political polarization, and an economy weighed down by the ghosts of its own success. How did the roles reverse? How did a country once behind begin to accelerate, while the one ahead seems trapped in its own reflection? Perhaps the true divide between these nations no longer lies on the map, but in the ability to listen, truly listen, to those who have the least. Cambodia, though poor, is looking forward. Thailand, though wealthy, often looks back. The contrast is striking. Phnom Penh's skyline rises higher each year, while Bangkok's forgotten slums still struggle to rise above the floodwaters. But within that contrast lies a truth about progress. It isn't about who builds higher, but who moves further. Cambodia may lack resources, but it has momentum. Thailand has infrastructure, but it's losing direction. And in that shift, a silent transformation is taking place across the region. In the glow of Southeast Asia's emerging lights, Bangkok may still be the jewel, but Phnom Penh is learning to shine, not with opulence, but with determination, resilience, and a sense of humanity. Perhaps the real question now isn't who grows faster, but who understands their people better. Because in the end, it's not the height of buildings that defines development, but the depth of compassion. Between Bangkok and Phnom Penh, the greatest difference may not be their economies, but the direction in which their hearts are turning. Number 4. Light in poverty. The people who don't wait for miracles. In what many call the scar of Bangkok, small flames still flicker in the dark. People who do not wait for miracles but become them. In Khlong Toei, miracles don't come from the government, relocation projects, or charity drives. They come from calloused hands that have learned to build something out of nothing. Each morning, in an old warehouse patched with rusted tin and faded paint, the clatter of knives and laughter blend with the scent of curry simmering over charcoal fires. It isn't just a cooking class, it's a classroom of resilience, where children learn how to feed themselves, how to share, and how to stand tall in a world that rarely bends for the weak. Nearby, a small restaurant run by single mothers serves cheap meals made from hope and determination. Each bowl sold is another day of school fees paid, another patch of roof fixed before the next rain. Not far away, a little girl, no older than 10, stands at a market corner with a basket of grilled bananas. Every time a customer buys one, she smiles, a radiant smile that almost makes you forget her bare feet standing in cold puddles. She doesn't know about social welfare. She only knows that to buy a new notebook, she must sell every last banana. These stories seem small, but in a world drowning in indifference, they are quiet miracles. An old woman collects trash at night to buy milk for her grandson. A young boy helps his father repair motorbikes under the rain. A retired teacher runs a free literacy class inside his kitchen. Kindness here isn't taught. It grows, wild and resilient, like flowers blooming through concrete. In the gray painting of poverty, these are the strokes of light that keep Bangkok from going completely dark. These people, they don't wait to be saved because they know no one is coming. They rebuild, they lift each other, they pass the flame through shared meals, gentle laughter, and small acts of care. Perhaps they are the ones who carry the true soul of this city, a soul not of wealth, but of grace. When you see that little girl selling bananas in the rain, you don't just see poverty. You see strength, faith, and a tiny light that refuses to die. Because in this world, it isn't the tallest towers that keep a city alive. It's the smallest hearts, beating quietly in the shadows, that keep its light from fading. Number 5. The struggle of development, when a city risks losing its soul. Bangkok can keep building. More towers, more highways, more gleaming subway lines stretching toward the horizon. But if it forgets the hands that poured the concrete and laid its foundations, can it still be called a city worth living in? As neon lights blaze across the skyline, somewhere in the shadows, Khlong Toei continues to breathe. Quietly, patiently, unnoticed but unbroken. This slum, often described as a crack in Bangkok's facade, is in truth a mirror reflecting what the city tries hardest to ignore. They call it poor, yet here lies everything that makes a city truly alive: breath, laughter, struggle, and compassion. While skyscrapers rise higher each year, the people of Khlong Toei wait, not for charity, but for recognition. They don't ask to be erased or relocated, only to be seen as part of the same heartbeat that drives Bangkok forward. The question isn't how far the city can grow, but how much it will lose in the process. Progress measured only in GDP and concrete is a kind of amnesia, an endless climb that forgets where it began. A city can become taller, brighter, richer, but if its heart grows cold and hollow, then every light becomes an illusion. Places like Khlong Toei aren't problems to be solved. They are lessons to be remembered. Within their narrow lanes, people still share food, teach one another, and hold on to the values the outside world seems too busy to care about. Each makeshift home, each humble market, each meal cooked over a charcoal flame. These are the city's living memories. Progress shouldn't bury them beneath steel and glass. It should learn how to grow from them. True development is not about paving over the past, but about building upon the humanity that shaped it. While politicians debate city plans and investors map out the next luxury district, the people of Khlong Toei continue to light their stoves, smile, and live. No matter how tall Bangkok grows, it will never be truly prosperous if its soul is left behind. Because real progress isn't measured by the height of its buildings, but by the depth of its compassion. And perhaps, only when Bangkok pauses long enough to listen to the quiet voices of its poorest neighborhoods, will it finally earn the right to call itself complete. Bangkok, the city of lights, of sleepless streets, of towers scraping the sky. Yet beneath all that brightness, there are shadows that no spotlight has ever reached. We've just walked through Khlong Toei, a place many call the scar of the capital. But perhaps it's the city's truest soul. In its fragile houses, in its weary yet hopeful smiles, in hands that still find ways to build life out of so little, we witness a symphony of poverty and grace, hardship and humanity. And as Phnom Penh, Cambodia's young capital, glows with new ambition, Bangkok faces a question larger than its skyline. What does it mean to grow if part of your soul gets left behind? Progress isn't only about numbers, it's about ensuring that no one is forgotten. On this journey, we didn't just see a slum. We saw humanity itself, a reflection of our own contradictions, our hunger for progress and our need for compassion, our rush to move forward, and our longing to pause and listen. Perhaps no city is perfect, but what makes a place worth living in isn't how bright its lights shine, it's how warm its heart feels. Bangkok may still dazzle, may still roar with energy, but somewhere in those narrow alleys, we found what the modern world is losing: kindness. And maybe that's what makes Bangkok, amidst all its chaos and imperfection, beautiful in its own way. A city is never truly rich if people remain in darkness. And a world is never truly developed if we forget that light must be shared. If this story made you pause for even a few seconds, consider subscribing to Fascinating Discoveries. Because there are still countless untold stories in this world, hidden corners where humanity quietly endures, waiting for someone to listen. Join us as we keep exploring, reflecting, and uncovering the extraordinary within the overlooked. For sometimes, the brightest light isn't found in glittering skylines, but in the single candle that never stops burning.